Welcome to this essential training video on automotive disc brake service. Today, we'll guide you through the critical steps of retracting caliper pistons, removing the caliper assembly, and conducting a thorough inspection. Let's start with the basics. The disc brake system's friction material, commonly known as brake pads, are precisely mounted inside the caliper assembly, positioned on either side of the disc rotor. Braking is achieved when hydraulic pressure actuates these pads, causing them to squeeze the rotor. The rotor itself is typically made of cast iron, machined smooth on both surfaces to accept the friction material. You'll find some rotors are a one-piece casting, while others are integral with a hub assembly. Most front rotors incorporate cooling fins between the braking surfaces, crucial for maintaining lower operating temperatures during use. After removing the wheel, always begin with a visual inspection of the brake pads, caliper, and rotor. If possible, inspect the thickness of the brake pads through the caliper inspection hole and examine both the leading and trailing edges. Always refer to the manufacturer's specifications for minimum thickness. Abnormal wear patterns can tell you a lot. If the inboard pad on a sliding caliper is worn more than the outboard pad, the caliper is most likely binding through the piston or slider. Conversely, if the outboard pad shows more wear, suspect that the sliding mechanism is sticking or damaged. If front brake pads are prematurely worn on a vehicle with rear drum brakes, it often indicates that the rear brakes are out of adjustment, forcing the front brakes to do most of the stopping. Important safety warning. Some electronically controlled brake systems require the use of an OE equivalent scan tool to disable the system during service. Failure to do so may allow the system to self-pressurize while the calipers are removed, forcing the caliper pistons out of their bores under extremely high pressure. This can lead to component damage, serious personal injury, or even death. Always consult the manufacturer's service manual. When removing disc brake calipers, open the bleeder screw and use the appropriate tool, usually a C-clamp, to compress the piston in the caliper housing only enough to allow caliper removal. For vehicles with rear disc brakes that incorporate an integral parking brake mechanism, a special tool is required to retract the caliper piston. This tool usually engages holes or slots in the caliper piston and is turned until the piston retracts fully into the caliper bowl. Once retracted, carefully remove the caliper assembly from its mountings. Now, thoroughly inspect the caliper assembly for any leaks or damage to the caliper housing. Check the condition of the dust boot for tears or deterioration. Clean and inspect the caliper mountings, retainers, sliders, and pins for any signs of wear or damage. Remove and inspect the disc brake pads for abnormal wear, cracking, or contamination, and inspect the disc pad retainers for damage, replacing as necessary. Finally, and critically, safely support the caliper out of the way using wire. Never let the caliper hang from the brake hose, as this can cause severe damage to the brake line. By following these steps for removal and inspection, you ensure a safe and effective disc brake service. Thank you for watching.